Toji turned to us with a cold, calculating look in her eyes. It was the face one would expect from a leader of the Hand of Death, a look that brooked no resistance.
The photograph that you guys possess. Just who is that girl in the photo, and why are you searching for her?
I then proceeded to explain the events of these last 2 days to Toji, with Kazuna filling in the details. Toji gave me a look that felt like it was boring right into the depths of my heart. The sun had set completely by the time we get out of Milk Hall.
See you later, Shugo-san, and Toji-san too. Thanks so much for today.
Kazuna grins at us from across the street. She told us that she had to show up for rehearsal with her theater group today. After giving us a big wave, Kazuna vanishes down the street.
She's a nice kid.
Toji murmurs after watching her go.
I thought it was kind of strange to begin with, how you had your guard down around her, Shugo.
I take a glance at Toji's carefully guarded expression.
But now I understand. Kazuna's.
She halts there. It looks like she's struggling to find the right words. I flash her a wry grin. Don't push yourself. You've never been much of a talker. I guess she's just adept at putting herself in other people's pockets. She opened up right away to Rin and Nana, too.
Yeah, you're right.
Born to be an underling? No, I get the feeling that's not really something you can praise. But she's indisputably a good person. I can feel a smile naturally coming onto my face when I talk about Kazuna. I'm going to get laughed at by Toji again, since it's so unlike me.
Is her theater group nearby?
Toji suddenly wears a look of concern on her face. She said it was the International Theater, so it's a short walk from here.
I see.
Toji stalks off at a brisk trot. Hey, what's wrong? She replies sharply without turning around.
It's best to cover all our bases. I don't want her getting hurt.
I don't think she has to go that far, but... Amused at Toji's overprotectiveness, I follow along behind her. And then, as though she had been waiting for us to enter that deserted street...
Stop it! No!
A short scream rings out.
God, you are so annoying! Shut up, you little brat!
Kazuna's fallen onto her rear, and there are two evil-looking guys grabbing her arms. That's the moment I'm about to dash over there.
Hold it, Shugo. This looks like my kind of work. Leave it to me.
Upon declaring that, Toji tosses away the cigarette in her hand and pulls out a weapon from her pocket. And then... It's over before I can even blink.
I'm Aoki Toji, and she's a friend of mine. Nobody's allowed to lay a hand on her. Understood?
Toji ignores the two punks writhing around on the road and turns to Kazuna.
Kazuna, did they hit you?
She walks over to Kazuna and extends a hand.
Yeah.
Kazuna, tears in her eyes, presses a hand against her cheek. She sits on the ground, not making any move to stand up.
Sorry. I can't stand up.
I've got you.
Toji-san.
Kazuna blushes as she looks up at her knight in shining armor.
Are you hurt anywhere?
Nope.
Good. That's a relief. I think it's best if you just went home for today.
They both walk off, with Toji leading Kazuna gently by the hand. Huh? Wait, where was my part in all of that? After escorting Kazuna back to her home in Kanda, we've returned to Ueno. Our location, Ueno Park beside the shore of Shinobazu Pond. We lean against the fence and watch the snow falling onto the surface of the water.
I'll deal with the people from the syndicate. Starting tomorrow, things like that won't happen again.
I recall the scene from earlier this evening, in particular the wretched sight of those thugs collapsed in the mud. Sure enough, they were subordinates of the leader in question. Apparently, they were waiting for an opportunity ever since they spotted Kazuna around noon. They didn't die, but they were probably left with a few broken bones. Well, they're the kind of guys that hit girls in the face. They got what they deserved. Even though they were away from the main roads, to do something like that in public was bordering on the absurd. That guy seems like he's pretty impatient. You think he'll just sit down and back off?
He's looking for his mistress named Hio. It has nothing to do with Kazuna. I'll go and have a talk with him. That should settle things.
If Toji doesn't act, then sooner or later we'll fall into the clutches of the Hand of Death. Toji, sorry for all the trouble.
Think nothing of it. I'm used to this sort of thing. You seem a little out of it, like you're thinking about something.
She flashes me a wry smile and continues.
That's right. If you're feeling thankful...
Her eyes suddenly narrow into slits. Those red eyes of hers seem like they can see through everything.
Then tell me the truth.
A certain sentence Keiichiro spoke to me floods back into my mind.
You see, my daughter Yura is already dead.
The truth, eh? I pull a cigarette out of my pocket.
Don't hide it from me, Shugo. There's more to the story from this afternoon, right?
What we talked about this afternoon. Kohzuki Keiichiro's request.
You seemed to hesitate when you explained things to me earlier. It didn't sit well with me.
I light my cigarette, a bitter grin on my face. You're pretty sharp. I'd expect no less from someone as high up as you are.
Don't joke around, Shugo. Let's be serious here.
It's not like I intended to hide anything from you. I just wanted to keep it a secret from Kazuna. I swear that's all it was. Toji's silence urges me to continue. Let's see. In the Kohzuki living room. After he had made Kazuna leave, Keiichiro started telling me about the real motives behind his job. Yura-san's dead? Keiichiro delivered a cold-hearted reply in response to my suspicious glance.
In short, this search is a sham. Just do whatever is appropriate in order to deceive Kazuna.
I was at a loss for words. What Keiichiro had just said seemed completely beside the point.
You're pretty slow. I'm surprised you're able to make a living in the detective business.
You seem disgusted with me.
Listen up. Yura's existence is already a thing of the past for us. The only person in the Kohzuki family who wants to find Yura is Kazuna.
He sighed in the direction of the door Kazuna had used to exit the room.
However, Kazuna is a stubborn girl. I'm sure she'd continue the search for Yura even on her own. There's no way I could let a daughter of the Kohzuki family continue with that strange behavior forever. That's where you come in, Takashiro-kun.
Realization slowly sunk in and left a bad taste in my mouth. So, what you're telling me is to not find Yura-san.
That's correct. Now we're getting somewhere.
His laugh was pure arrogance.
Just think about it, Takashiro-kun. Apparently, Yura's been wandering around in the slums of Ueno. There's no way to know what kind of men have touched her, right? If there's a child in her belly, that bastard born from the seed of some lowlife could become the heir to the Kohzuki family.
At that point, Keiichiro put on a grand smile.
The fortune of the Kohzuki family is something I risked my own life to build up. It is the result of me sweating blood through constant competition and hard work. It is my entire life. I will not have the family name dragged through the mud by the misconduct of some daughter.
Some daughter, Keiichiro had said. I felt disgust welling up inside me. Keiichiro paid no heed to the thoughts running through my head and continued on.
I'm not going to ask you to deal with the problem. That's beyond the scope of this job. Your task is to deceive my daughter. There's nothing else I require aside from that. Of course, there will still be monetary compensation. Not a bad deal, right? Let's see. As for how long, let's just say until Kazuna gives up on Yura. Submit a report to me and Kazuna once a month.
A falsified report?
Yura died on that day 5 years ago. I wish for her to remain dead.
Keiichiro stopped and chuckled cruelly.
Have we come to an understanding, Takashiro-kun?
Power, money, violence. There are many people who are used to exercising all the power in the world to make others obey them. They disregard others in order to protect their own interest. Kohzuki Keiichiro is one of those people. May I ask a question? I attempted to keep my displeasure in check as I posed a question.
What is it?
Could you tell me the circumstances under which Yura-san vanished?
It has nothing to do with your job. I don't feel the need to inform you.
Then what about her accident 10 years ago? Why was Yura-san shut inside of her room?
That is also unrelated.
Keiichiro waved his hand around as though annoyed and stood up.
This should do it, right? Takashiro-kun, I'm counting on you with this job.
Okay, understood. It seemed the conversation was over. I nodded and rose from the sofa.
Ryoko, show Takashiro-kun out.
Sure.
Ryoko replied lethargically and headed for the door. Keiichiro called out to me as I was about to leave the room.
Ah, right. One last thing, Takashiro-kun. Kazuna may ask to participate in your investigation when the time comes.
And that brings us back to the present, nighttime at Ueno Park. The moon's completely shrouded behind clouds. We're both wreathed in the darkness of this twilight hour. A look of disgust forms on Toji's face as the story unfolds. Keiichiro's plan and Kazuna's wishes are completely at odds with each other. I don't want Kazuna to know that yet. It's not out of love for one's family, but solely because he would hate to soil the family name. Her own father wants her sister dead. That's the cruel reality Kazuna faces. That's why I couldn't tell you the entire story this afternoon. Kazuna asked to join the investigation just as Keiichiro predicted. That's why I've been dragging her around everywhere. Toji's eyes grow all the more keen.
And you're okay with that?
He binds others with his power and crushes them beneath his feet. Keiichiro's behavior is the type of stuff Toji absolutely abhors. I shrug. I was told to search, so I'm searching. I'm free to do so however I see fit. Unfortunately for Keiichiro, I might just stumble across Yura along the way. And it's entirely possible that Kazuna might happen to be together with me at the time.
So you intend to ignore Kohzuki Keiichiro's request?
I twist my lips into a grin. I am kind of slow, you know. Toji stares at me silently. And then she suddenly says,
I'll help too.
Whoa there, don't fall head over heels for my suaveness, okay?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm doing it for Kazuna.
Toji flat out denies it. She's really not one for jokes.
We still don't know whether that girl, Hio, is Kazuna's sister, Kohzuki Yura. However, I'll pass on all the information I get from the Hand of Death to you guys from now on.
She's going to pass on information from an underground syndicate to outsiders like us. Without a doubt, that's a dangerous move.
That should be fine, right?
If she's discovered doing that, it'll put her in grave danger. However, in light of that fact, my friends offered to help, wearing her usual poker face. Without even expecting anything in return. She does this for a friend. She met just today. Hey, Toji. To make a long story short, Toji is... Want a kiss?
Ooh, what?
A great person. I part ways with Toji, who seems rather offended for some reason, at the park and head for home. The snow's still coming down. When I enter downtown, what's going on? It's an alley that branches off to the right in front of the district's entrance. There's a crowd formed in the narrow space between buildings that's normally used for dumping food waste. Could it be one of Ueno's bizarre murders? The thought briefly crosses my mind. I should take a look. I head for the alley. And inside is... What the hell? A large number of dead crows with their wings ripped off.
Give me a break. Why in the world are these things behind my store?
It's a bit too cruel for a kid's prank. Did you piss someone off or something?
The hell are you talking about? I'm an honest merchant. There's not the slightest reason for anyone to hold a grudge against me.
They're wrong. This wasn't for some grudge. This is the same as what I read in this morning's paper.
But this is pretty creepy.
Yeah, what has the world come to? What with the cannibalism and all, it's just sick murders one after the other. There's been a lot of kidnappings too. I won't be able to do business in peace at this rate.
With that, all the onlookers start raising a commotion over public safety in Ueno.
We can't trust the government! Why not just form a band or association of vigilantes separate from the police?
Say the people in the rabble. I can't bear to stay here any longer. I turn around to leave. And right at that moment...
Wow, crows eat the bodies of their comrades.
I hear a child's reedy voice at my side.
They're pretty loud, huh? Everyone's making such a fuss.
This kid's got some weird clothes on. They're wearing a coat with a hood extended so it hides their face. Their voice is so strained and hoarse that I can't even determine the kid's sex. Huh? What? What the heck is this kid talking about? Upon closer inspection, their garb seems to resemble what that kid handing out leaflets at Aoimachi the other day was wearing. At any rate, I don't want to hang around this kid any longer. Hey, you! I've hardly opened my mouth to speak when...
Hey, Tatsuo! Hurry up and get your butt inside!
It's the voice of the old lady from earlier. The kid silently enters one of the houses upon hearing that.
What's with your kid? Why is he wearing something so weird?
Well, I'm not really sure what to do about him. This strange priestess or shaman person's been all the rage lately, right?
Yeah, I've heard about her. She's really been getting around these parts. They've been spreading this convenient rumor that if you worship them, then a cannibal will leave you alone if you run into him.
Right. That clothing looks like the stuff her followers wear. Tatsuo's fallen for it too. Lately, he's just been spewing a bunch of strange nonsense at home. What on earth happened to him?
Trudging home on tired legs, I finally reached the Yukishiro. Business seems to be booming tonight. I stick my head into the kitchen and ask where Madame Mujaku is. Come to think of it, I haven't run into the madam in quite a long time. There's a veritable boatload of things I want to discuss with her. Hatsune, the murders, Koyuki and Sari.
Madame Mujaku's not coming back tonight. Apparently, she's been asked to deal with some business in Fukugawa.
I see. She's not one to say no when asked, so I'm not surprised. I give the head chef my thanks and leave the kitchen. I've returned to my room. I slide open the screen to see...
Welcome home, sir. You must be exhausted. Will you be having a meal? Will you be having a bath? Or perhaps...
She gives me a flirty look.
Wow! What are you doing? I went to all this trouble to greet you sexily, too!
Reen bangs on the screen from the other side. What the heck are you doing in my room? I held the door closed so Reen can't get out.
I want to continue what we started this afternoon. I still haven't gotten my reward yet.
Oh boy. She's still going on about that? Stop screwing around, Reen. Why are you so obsessed with me in the first place?
Well, of course. That's because I love you, Shu-san.
A message of love from beyond the screen door. What are you really trying to do here?
I'm exhausted. Nothing beats sucking out a young man's life essence on a day like this.
Goodbye.
Just kidding! I really do love you.
Bang, bang, bang. Reen tries to get my attention by pounding the screen. Stop hitting it! You'll piss off everyone nearby! As a shameful freeloader, I can't give the other people here any more reason to glare at me. I have no choice but to. Sometimes you just gotta make a run for it. Sorry, Reen. Muttering that with eyes downcast, I block the sliding door with a pull and leave. This is the best I can do.
Yeah? Shoes-on? Shoes-on!
Bang, bang,
Shoes
bang,
on.
bang.
Shoes-on, come on, I have work
The racket
to do.
gradually
Shoes
fades
on.
into the distance.
Shoes-on, come back
I
here.
hope all our feelings of love become distant memories someday. For some reason, I'm feeling awfully sentimental tonight. Well then, where should I bed down this evening? There shouldn't be any problem with me sleeping in the storage room for just one night, but it's the dead of winter. I'd like to sleep in the warmest place available. With that in mind, I happen to come across Hatsune coming down the hallway toward me.
It's going to be another chilly night, Shugo-sama. If your room's cold, I could fetch you another blanket.
Hatsune's brimming with tender concern for me. Oh, here's my chance. Surely Hatsune won't refuse. Actually, there's something I'd like to talk to you about. I put on the most sincere face I can muster. Please let me sleep in your room tonight.
Huh?
Hatsune's eyes practically pop right out of her head. I suppose it's only natural to be surprised after being asked that out of the blue. I should ask her more politely. I need your room. Please, Hatsune.
Shugo-sama!
Hatsune's face instantly turns scarlet.
It's so soon! I'm not ready!
It's just for one night. Big sad tears start rolling down her face.
But what about my feelings? Mean! Shugo-sama! You're so mean!
Huh?
But I don't mind! Even if you're just fooling around, even if it's just one fleeting night with you!
It appears that we have a fundamental misunderstanding here. Wait, Hatsune, calm down! After spending 20 minutes explaining the situation, I'm able to calm Hatsune down and get a place to spend the night.